There are four types of knee and column milling machines that are likely to be found in the machine shop. The Ram vertical, the standard vertical, the plain style horizontal, and the universal style horizontal. Shown in the picture here is the Ram type vertical, often referred to as a Bridgeport style. This milling machine has a lot of versatility. It has a ram on the end of the column that will extend and retract towards and away from the column and also swivel around the column. It has a milling head on the end of that ram which will tilt towards the column or away from the column and also will tilt around the column. It also has a knee on the bottom which will be raised and lowered, and this will be common to all of the four types of milling machines I've just talked about. And on top of the knee is a saddle and then the table. The table will move in the X position, left or right. It will also move in and out transversely, and the spindle will move up and down as well as the knee moving up and down. In the end of the spindle on this particular model there will be an R8 style milling machine taper which goes into the spindle. The spindle will extend and retract much like a drill press, and on the top of the milling head there is a speed selection lever which will allow you to dial the speed in you want once the spindle is turning. This is a standard vertical milling machine, and although it is similar to the Ram type vertical milling machine, this one is more suitable to heavier types of work. This one likely will have power feeds on most of the axes, if not all of the axes, and rapids on them, whereas the Ram type vertical not likely will unless it's been added to it. The difference is with this one is it does not have a ram on top of the column. And other than that, if you have a look at the spindle, it takes a standard milling machine taper typically, and a C-style arbor goes in it. In other words, the arbor has a cutter on the end of it and will be quite short in length. This is a horizontal milling machine, and this particular model has the standard milling machine taper. It has all the features of the vertical milling machine we just had a look at, but instead of having a ram on top of the column, it has what is called an overarm. And then it has an overarm support. You can see it on the back of the column. When the overarm is extended in front of the column towards the table, the overarm support would then go in the position on the end of that ram, and then we would put an arbor in the spindle, and it'll likely take either a B-style arbor or an A-style arbor, although it could take a C-style arbor. The A and B-style arbors are quite long and are supported both in the spindle and by the overarm support on the other end, with the cutter being in the middle. This one is very handy for doing helical milling on gears and things like that. And you can see the shroud at the far end of the table there, which can be geared to the lead screw of the milling machine table in order to advance the work being held in a dividing head in order to cut a helical gear. What makes this either a plain style milling machine or a universal style horizontal milling machine is the table. If the table swivels, it is a universal horizontal milling machine rather than a plain style horizontal milling machine. Having a closer look between the saddle and the table of the horizontal milling machine, you can see that there is a protractor on the front of this one. In other words, the table will swivel off of being perpendicular to the spindle, right or left. This makes it a universal horizontal milling machine. This is also a horizontal milling machine. Please notice that it has a vertical milling head attachment bolted to the front of the column in order to mill in the vertical position. Also note that the overarm is pushed back out of the way so the vertical milling head attachment can be bolted to the front of the column. This is a close-up of the vertical milling head attachment. This one will have a standard milling machine taper in it. It also will articulate in a couple of different positions around the column. And you can see the scale on the side.